tiny fanatical minority can and seem to be able to take over a whole union.
I gave the order for British forces to take part in military action in Iraq.
Than have them grow up under communism and one day die no longer believing in God.
Hello there, and welcome to Labour Media, and welcome to the first episode of Broadcast Interruption. I'm actually sitting down for this one because this is going to be much longer. So it's going to be weird creaking noises. I apologise for that. There we go. So, what this is going to be? This is a new thing. Basically, it's more it's kind of podcast style deal, and essentially, it's like it's just a bit off the cuff. It's a bit. That's a vehicle driving by. Don't know if that picked some. But yeah, so it's just going to be like me talking more than having fancy visual or a script, kind of very, very off the cuff. And what we're going to be doing today, there's going to be another one of these soon. An interview type thing. There's going to be I said interview already. It's going to be an interview, and you'll see about that later this week. When you look yeah. I need to get my train of thought right. I'm addicted to distraction today. So guess what would be a fun thing to do is I like talking to myself. But today, was something very special dropped. So last video I made was on socialist parties in the UK, and I mentioned that the Northern Independence Party, the NIP, is going to be dropping their manifesto today. So a bit of backstory: the NIP is a party. It's a northern party, and it's basically in England we have this thing called the North-South divide, and essentially that means the south of England is more well off than the north of England. North of England is poorer than the south of England, and essentially they seek to rectify that. So that they're either going to be like advocating for the North in Westminster, or they are advocating, if possible, for complete Northern independence. And of course, I have some criticism of that. Northern secessionism, not really what I think is the best idea, but I'm not from the North, so I would rather leave that in the hands of the North. I've seen they had a previous manifesto before this one, and it was leaned a bit towards market socialism-y. At Heidi Heisman on Twitter, so this is a good comrade of mine. She pointed this out. This is brilliant, right? They're kind of the things in this manifesto is kind of you may have heard of like the Nordic model. That's a lot of thing that Sockdems want. They want the Nordic model. They want like not really like socialism, but social democracy as it's done in Norway. What the NIP are advocating for? This is what Heidi said. I'll leave a link to her description. This was genius, I think. They're kind of advocating for the Scottish model. I apologise to anyone in Scotland for the accent I just put on. But yeah, that's definitely true. That they tweet a lot about that as well. And I'm also very interested in looking at their they have this segment on anti-discrimination. There was this whole thing with the NIP about kind of failing a lot of disabled activists in the party. Don't know if that's been rectified. I accidentally hit that. I don't know if that's been rectified. I certainly hope it has been, but in the interest of fairness, I want to put that out there. So that should be all the preamble. So let's get a mosey on, shall we? So yes, it is. Oh, Chair Creek, lovely. So let's have a look-see. Do I read this in a northern accent, or do I want to avoid getting guillotined today? Probably avoid getting guillotined personally. So you go on the NIP Twitter. You can the link in the thing. It's also on their website, I assume. So just need to make sure that's working. How much charges my microphone? My microphone, I mean my phone. So that because we're high tech here. We're high tech on Labour Media and Broadcast Interruption. Okay, so introduction. Between 2010 and 2018, 3.6 billion was cut from public spending in the north, 4.7 billion was added to public spending in the south during the same period. The Northern Independence Party was established in 2020 in response to the worsening injustice of this north-south divide. We believe that the North can only overcome the challenges of our times as an independent nation, free from the regressive and inequitable politics of Westminster. There can be no doubt that the challenges we face are substantial and diverse, including high rates of poverty, lack of secure housing, and soaring energy prices. Your policies set out aim to address these challenges at every scale, from a parish council to Westminster. Let's show you what would be possible in an independent North. Okay, so forward. I thought we just read the forward, but forward. Okay, so this is kind of just the. Okay, so there's a lot here. There's a lot here. Now here's a problem. At Manx, another comrade of mine, I'll also put that in the description. If I don't, please slap me. Somehow, for I don't know how you do that, but manage. There's not really a bit on foreign policy, which is very important because, as we've established, this is kind of like it's the Scottish model, the Nordic model. They want a lot of social democratic reforms. I mean, they apparently are a socialist party, but they have a lot. I don't know. Maybe they have like a full nationalisation plan. I don't know. But the thing is, right? You know, it's a lot. This is some complicated. It's not a complicated much. If I can understand it, anyone can. So the thing is, problem with social democracy is it keeps capitalism around. At the stage of capitalism we're in right now, that kind of leads to we're in like the imperial stage of capitalism, and kind of like because the rate of profit's infinitely falling, the rate of profit the need for profit will always be there, infinite growth and finite planet, etc. I just didn't need to tap that, etc., etc. It basically means markets will always have to expand and base it till there is fucking nothing left to expand to, at which point the system collapses. Lovely jubbly. So that's fun. And the problem with this is not having a foreign policy is basically the idea of social democracy. Basically, at home you have a bunch of cool, good, very nice stuff, but like all the exploitation. Well, I mean, it's not all removed, of course, because capitalism still sticks. But a lot of the exploitation is moved abroad. It's just like the factories, they're taken abroad to poorer parts of the world, and the exploitation is taken over there, so which is not great at all. So like foreign policy is very important, and because of like imperialism, it's fucking horrific. But also because like that is. You can't be like a socialist party without having like a strong stance against imperialism, which I imagine they do. But I mean, they should like mention the policies like Breakthrough, for example. We did a space last night all about freeing Palestine. I mean that was a very good space. I'd recommend if you're. I'd recommend joining the Breakthrough Party, of course. But I also recommend if you see like a Breakthrough space going on, definitely join it. They're very good, lots of fun, very informative. I learned a lot. I learned a lot about the issue. I was underinformed about it beforehand, but I think I learned more about it. So yeah, that's anyway. Without doing a further, let's get a ballsy on. So okay. Workers' rights. Too many people north are trapped in exploitative work with wages below the cost of living, poor working conditions, health and stability. We put that right. All right, here we go. These we got some policies. We got some policies, people. We will raise the minimum wage to £16 an hour for all workers of all ages. That's actually better than what Breakthrough's been promising. £15 minimum wage was better what Labour was advocating for the last election. Shouldn't £16 an hour? That's pretty sterling. That is. We'll increase statutory sick pay for all workers to be to the higher even the workers' wage, or living wage £6 an hour. Also, work with 6 from the pandemic. That's pretty good. Ban firing workers. Ban firing higher. We love to see it. We will abolish 0-hour contracts. We love to see it. We will also prevent any rollback current child labour laws. Yep, of course, we always want that. That's important to prevent. Okay, flexible working. Always to offer the default option to work from home wherever such work can be performed at home. Any regular office attendance will be up to the employee. That's actually. I mean, I work at home as it is. I do freelance, right? But I mean, wherever such work can be performed at home. Any regular. I actually really like that because I enjoy like working home, working in my own house. I think that should definitely be an opportunity we give to more people because I think like giving people the opportunities to. And that's actually good. I don't know if we have that. Right? That's it. I like that policy. Good job, Nip. I like to. All these are very good policies, actually. Okay, we will provide an immediate 22% wage rise for NHS staff. This will help correct years of underinvestment in our NHS, improve worker retention and morale, and thereby enhance the quality of our service. 22% wage rise. I think that sounds pretty good. I don't work for the NHS, so I don't know how exactly how good they would be. But I think like the Tories are advocating for like a 1%. They were giving them a 1% rise, like during like the point of the pandemic, which is a fucking joke. So this would certainly be better than that. So yeah, but I don't know like the material effects of that. But I do know that would be definitely better than what many of the parties are advocating for. NIP-run councils. We want everyone to have the shorter and more flexible working hours without reducing pay. NIP-run councils will lead the way by trialling 4-day working weeks with flexible work and no reduction in compensation. Based, the big based. That's quite based. Reducing the working week is that's actually a long term. That's like been a socialist goal for many socialists for a while. So that's actually will actually be pretty good to get. Right, apprenticeships. This bit is bloody long. Written the bloody dissertation on the concept of apprenticeships. We will improve funding for apprenticeships by increasing the apprenticeship levy to 5% and doubling the allowance of protectable firms. This means companies will be required to contribute more to hiring and training apprentices. To improve retention, we will allow firms to pay the first 2 years of former apprentices' wages from the levy funds if they take their apprentices on permanently. Interesting. We'll streamline the application process for apprenticeships. All qualifying apprenticeships should be listed on the UCAS website. The standardised applications and interview processes managed by UCAS to make it easier for school leavers to find apprenticeships. We will introduce a one-time £1,000 relocation payment to be paid in advance to new apprentices who must relocate for their training. This will enable young people to undertake apprenticeships without worrying about the costs of moving. Yeah, that's not bad. We will abolish the practice of private companies setting standards for apprenticeships and instead having standards set by colleges and other institutions of further learning. This will ensure all apprentices gain a high-quality education, which is portable across employers. Apprenticeships should be the foundation for a career in an apprentice's chosen occupation, and not determined by the preferences of a single employer. You know, any attacks on private business, we love it. We stan. We do people still say stan? I don't know. I'm always behind the trends of what the kids say these days. Constantly. Like, I'm not up to date. Okay, so workplace rights education. We will review the national curriculum to include education on workplace rights, from the history of the union movement to current rights and workplace practices. Our children should be equipped with the knowledge they need to fight against exploitative conditions. Yeah, that's good. That's really good. Definitely really important to educate kids on workplace rights, history. That's actually, getting kids educated on the union movement would be that'd be great. That'd be really good, because we want. I mean, I'm a Marxist-Leninist, but I do have a kind of a syndicalist bent about me. So I mean, we'll love to see that union membership. We love to see it. Okay, sustainable supply chains. We will expand on modern slavery. Oh, here we go. We will expand on modern slavery legislation to ensure those working in the global south are not exploited when they contribute to our supply chains. This will improve conditions in those countries and protect jobs in the north, as multinational corporations will no longer be able to outsource to countries with cheaper, more easily exploited labour. Now that's what we're looking for. We've got foreign policy, people. We have foreign policy at last. Okay. So I mean, it's good, but not really. It was a bit underwhelming. Of course, there will. And technically, there'll always be like somewhat exploited as long as there's like a capitalist supply chain. So you can't like remove exploitation unless you're going to nationalise the supply chain, which of course you should nationalise the supply. Nationalise everything, people. It's like, that's good. That's good. Also need a broader nationalisation plan for it. It's really like down, but it's very important that they actually have some things saying, we're going to kind of pamper imperialism a bit. I hope there's more of this, certainly. Let's look at economic policy. Let's have a look-see. Economic policy. Strong communities and good jobs are built on the substantial public investment and dispersed democratic ownership. Okay. Ending austerity. We will fully reverse the cuts in public spending made between 2010 and 2022. And we will reverse these cuts at both local and national levels. Very, very based. Extraordinarily based, in fact. I might go as far to say, unyieldingly based. I'm sorry to USC, they've taken your gimmick. Yeah, my condolences. Okay, so and this is what I've been excited for. Progressive tax system, just as Daddy Marx outlined in the Communist Manifesto. I read it. I believe point 3 of what should be applicable for the establishment of communism: a heavy, progressive, or graduated tax system, something like that. I'm paraphrasing. Let's go. Let's see what they're saying about it. Recognise that the yearly income for those in the north is significantly lower than the rest of England. To reverse the damage of the north-south divide, I talk very fast, and invest in the north, we must ask those who earn far more than the rest of us to pay their fair share. Okay. You will institute progressive tax reforms. We will oppose increases to VAT and national insurance, both of which affect the poorest among us far more than the richest. We will increase corporation tax, based on large firms, create a wealth tax on the ultra-rich, based, annually taxing the net wealth of individuals over £1 million, with appropriate exception given to wealth stored in the first homes at or below market value. Quite based. We will also introduce legislation to camp down on tax avoidance and evasion, based, closing all loopholes and avoidance schemes for taxation and stopping any nor offshoring of funds. We will treat all legal residents as domiciled citizens for tax purposes, so as to counter tax avoidance by non-domiciled and high net worth individuals. To ensure these changes will be enforced, we will probably fund our tax office to investigate and pursue tax fraud committed by corporations and the ultra-wealthy. Based. As a Marxist, I'm not really, of the tax-to-rich crowd, because, tax is one thing. Have you considered seizing the wealth? That sounds like more fun to me, personally, but, of course, if it were, the choice between not tax-to-rich and tax-to-rich, I'm gonna take tax-to-rich every time, mate. So, yeah. Good tax reforms, lads. Good on yous. Alright. We pledge to use the principles of community wealth breeding, not just community wealth breeding, I'm a genius. Principles of community wealth building, commonly known as the Preston model, to build a prosperous local economy and focus high quality jobs. These principles are, here we go. I've heard of the Preston model. Actually, I've given it a proper reading. Okay. An economy owned by the community by promoting cooperatives, municipal ownership, locally owned small and medium-sized enterprises, and insourcing, where councils bring services in-house instead of outsourcing them. Making financial power work for local places by promoting local pension funds, mutual and community banks, and credit unions. Fair employment and just labour markets by working with local institutions to implement a real living wage, support local unions, recruit locally, and put a stop to exploitative employment practices such as fire and rehire. Once again, that is point-based there. Progressive procurement of goods and services by making use of local businesses and suppliers wherever possible, and working with local institutions to help do the same. And socially productive use of land and property. I like saying property like that, it's fun. By using community land trusts or public commons partnerships to keep public land available for use. Can you say public any more times? Is it actually possible? You said that thrice in one sentence. So this sounds alright. It does sound quite alright, but they've had this in the old manifesto. They want to have this cooperative bent, which is, if better to have a cooperative bent than a private business bent, but I've written about this before. We're actually going to be working on a whole video about markets, why they're very bad. I would definitely go for the idea of locally owned small and medium enterprises. I assume that would mean council ownership. That'd be pretty. Locally planned economy. I'm more of a centrally planned economy person myself, but locally planned, that could also work. Cooperatives, not without a plan to eventually nationalise those cooperatives, because nationalise everything. Markets, cringe. I have deemed all markets cringe. Vulnerable profit, centralisation of capital, etc., etc. And the other thing, infinite growth and finite planet. Markets, not great. Let's have a look-see. Alright, green jobs. We will ensure a just transition for those working in high-carbon industries by retraining them to work in the industry of their choice, and also providing the option of early retirement to those close to retirement age. It is the duty of the government to provide job training and to invest in infrastructure to create climate and community resiliency, something known as left behind. We will invest in green industries to provide well-paid public sector employment with full training or fully funded apprenticeships, or fully funded apprentices for anyone who want to participate. Shouldn't it be want to participate? Alright. Okay, the relevant industries are renewable energy storage, public transport, land management, forestry, green construction, green construction, and climate change adaptation. You know what? Very good, very good. Definitely what we need. We need this. We need people being we need the Green Industrial Revolution back. Sod the Green New Deal. Embrace. Ugh, I'm genius. The English language consequence has been a disaster for the human race. Reject the Green New Deal. Embraced Green Industrial Revolution. Embrace the Green 5-year plan. Decarbonisation. We will fund the decarbonisation of North by investing in renewable energy, the electrification of transport, and the development of zero-carbon alternatives to other sources of carbon dioxide emissions. Investing in these things will not only reduce our carbon emissions, but also improve quality of life by reducing pollution. We will fund the research into renewable power sources, waste reduction, energy storage, building insulation technologies, public transport, ecological restoration, agriculture, and land management. We will require government bodies, both local and national, to retain an ownership stake of any intellectual property resulting from such research. This will stop private companies from using publicly funded research as the foundation for their profits without paying the public for their investment. Good. I say that, but here's the thing: you're just saying ownership stake, right? Here's the thing. You just nationalise the fuckers. Yes, indeed. Stop them from using public funded research by their profits, very based. But just stop the private companies. That's my solution. Just nationalise the bastards. Why is this chair creaking? Alright, it's alright, it's pretty good. Community interest companies. We will offer long-term grants to community interest companies. These are companies that will use their profits to the public good and include cooperatives, arts organisations, and other social enterprises. Okay. Trying some socialist Yugoslavia stuff. That ended well. These grants will come from council funds currently used to offer short-term grants, saving organisations having to apply and reapply for these grants and allowing them to plan long-term work on communities. Additionally, we will provide long-term operational grants to social enterprises so the workers can earn a decent wage while doing good. Their service to improve our community is important and should be supported. It's pretty good. I mean, I like how it's got very community focused, this economic policy. That's good. I mean, I think that's quite good, actually. I said that like thrice. I don't know what was wrong with me. I just think a lot of people, when we talk about capitalism, we focus on the problem of private ownership. We focus on that issue, lack of democracy in the workplace. That's a big issue. The stratification of classes, the class distinction, massive. But here's the problem: markets are also, people forget this. Markets are also extremely intrinsic to capitalism. They exist before capitalism, sure, but they are massively vital to it, and they need to be stamped out. There is just so many problems. I'll be getting into this in a different video. Suffice to say, I said this again: falling rate of profit, always falling. They only need profit to compete, and that means they're always trying to get bigger, expanding, infinite growth and finite planets. ABC. It's not great, but you know what? I'm glad they have policy about cooperatives, and like at least in this time, this is the economic policy. It's not really mentioned much about about nationalisation. You know, like some local local industries. Yeah, reinvesting profits though from cooperatives. Now you got me there. That could basically curb a lot of the problems of cooperatives, because cooperatives in that fashion could actually function really well. But the problem is, if you'd have them competing, that would be quite bad. Because I mean, if you have kind of nationalised cooperatives, that could work. Well, this could use a lot more detail in this manifesto, honestly. Trade unions, that's fun. We love ourselves some unions. We believe in workers' rights to representation in their workplace. We will reverse the trend of declining unionisation, empowering workers' representatives to advocate for better conditions and fair treatment. We like it. We will form the law to strengthen trade unions. We will institute a wider definition of legally protected strike action. Sit-ins, occupations, solidarity strikes, secondary picketing, and striking aided political causes will all be considered legal activities when appropriately balloted. Very nice. It is wrong to present the political economic constraints. Workers can be separated. We will repeal the 2016 Trade Union Act that prohibits acts to place unacceptable constraints on union behaviour. We will also update the law so that balloting for strike action may be done online. If online voting is good enough for political parties, it's good enough for trade unions. I like the way you think, NIP. I like the way you think. We will legalise trade union-only tender processes for government contracts at all levels. Public funds going to companies that exploit their employees and deny them union representation is unacceptable. We like it. We like it very much. What I would have liked to have seen, they'd have a lot of focus on cooperatives, but there's no Marcora law here. Like a union Marcora law. There's a Marcora law, if you don't know, it's basically workers, they can buy at their workplace and form a cooperative. I'm really interested in the idea of like a union-based idea of that. So like a union could buy out their workplace, like not just like any worker, but just like a union of workers. Because I think that'd be really helpful for like cooperatives. Their interests are not exactly aligned with the labour movement, like by itself. So I think like it'd be better like to kind of tie those together with unions. Right. We're actually on the next section now. Where we live, housing, utilities, and green spaces. It sounds like a lot of fun. Housing is a fundamental human right. Based. We believe that everyone should have a home that is safe, comfortable, and fit for the future. Rent controls and council tax. We'll introduce rent control to bring rents down to a level we can all afford. No one should be able to choose between paying the rent or their heating bill. Property owners should pay council tax instead of tenants, as they are the ones who benefit from the value that's being taxed. Rent controls. I like that. That's actually a really good idea. Rent controls will ensure this cost is not passed on to tenants. Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, there are like a couple issues with the idea of rent controls, but I just think it's because I mean, of course, just fucking we haven't changed. Just give people houses. That will be my solution. But maybe they mention that. Social housing. I guess that'll be it. Renters' rights. We'll expand renters' rights. Over 50% of Northerners live in privately rented accommodation that is often insecure and poor quality. To address this, we will change the Housing Acts in the following ways: guarantee 3-year terms for assured short-hold tenancies. Tenancies even. Sorry. Amend the Housing Act 2004 to make selective landlord licensing schemes universal across all authorities and fund proper resourcing for enforcement of minimum standards. Abolish Section 21 of the Housing Act 1988, which allows landlords to serve tenants with an eviction notice without giving a reason. The government has promised to abolish these for eviction but not delivered. And make all grounds for Section 8 of the Housing Act 1988 eviction, which allows landlords to pay for the possession of property and evict the tenants discretionary, and allowing the courts to decide not to evict even if the grounds are proven. Alright, yeah, that's pretty good. By including requirement to provide homes of a high standard in all licensing schemes, we will give appropriate funding and resources to the agencies which administer these schemes to ensure such requirements are fully enforced. This will result in rented homes that are well insulated, safe, and comfortable to live in. I hope they mention something about, like, I think we did this in Breakthrough. That might be in anti-discrimination, about making sure that the houses that are available all have, like a range of housing options that are very accessible. People with disabilities. So I think that's something that needs to get on the. I think if it's not home, that's not going to. Or in here. Let's have a look. So just scrolling down. Sure. Second home tax. So we'll raise funds by taxing empty properties as second homes, which are more likely to be owned by the wealthiest among us. Very based, and use these proceeds to improve our communities. We will like management of long-term empty homes and bring them back into use as social housing. This will replace insecure private renting with secure long-term social tenancies. In communities suffering acute housing shortages, I'm so good at the English language. Shortages due to holiday homes and lets such as Ambleside in Cumbria. We will ban the purchase of second homes. This follows the example of other communities such as St Ives in Cornwall. I'm very much in favour of a second home. Especially on landlords, that'd be great. Oh, here we go. This is about Grenfell. Flammable cladding. The government's negligence in refusing to address flammable cladding in the wake of Grenfell is shameful. Their negligence continues but lies in danger and has left individual households bearing massive costs for refurbishment. We will fund the refit of building cladding and flammable materials as swiftly as possible before another tragedy occurs. This includes reinsulating buildings that have been stripped of cladding but left unfinished. That I like. I think people really we've forgotten about Grenfell, and that's bad because that is like really fucking telling of like the issue of housing in this country. And I'm very fucking glad that they are bringing up the issue of Grenfell. That is really fucking important. Social housing. This is what we're looking for. I think. Everyone should have the chance to put down roots in their community and have safe, comfortable, and affordable housing. We will construct new, high-quality social housing that is available at affordable social rents, energy efficient, and suitable for everyone, including pensioners, new families, and young people just starting out in life. We will also fund programs to refit existing council housing and bring them to a high standard of comfort and energy efficiency. We will ensure that disabled people have access to housing that suits their needs, whether this is through new, purpose-built housing or refitting existing homes. That's it. There we go. That's all very good, honestly. This has just been a very good section so far. Homelessness. We'll implement a housing-first policy to tackle homelessness. We like to hear it. This is a successful, evidence-based approach which has been piloted in Newcastle and Greater Manchester, where there are no conditions around readiness before providing some safe housing. A safe and secure home is the foundation everyone needs before any of the issues can be addressed. We'll expand the definition of statutory homelessness to include exposure to any form of domestic violence or abuse, and to ensure that people are forced out of their homes are offered support no matter the reason. We will also expand the definition to include neighbourhood issues such as repeatedly targeted by hate crimes. This is great. This is absolutely great. Just fantastic. We will ensure all homes are properly insulated by funding the refitting of existing homes and requiring all new builds to have a higher standard of insulation. This will keep us healthy in the winter and during extreme heat waves, create jobs in the construction industry, and reduce our carbon emissions. We will make the following changes to how energy performance is regulated, making sure that no one can let or sell on substandard housing and bring energy bills down as standards improve. We will raise the minimum energy performance certificate rating, EPC rating, of non-listed buildings that are let or sold from E to C, which means these homes will need less energy to heat. We will introduce subsidies for owner-occupiers of qualifying properties with EPC ratings below C to bring them to that standard, and we will invest in newer green technologies for insulation, reducing the cost of installation, fire risks, and green health risks to those working with insulation. I talk too fast, have you noticed that? I think I might talk just a little bit quick. But yeah, that's all good. Because we already just got to utilities. Essential. Oh wait, this is going to be good actually. Essential utilities such as water and energy should be available to all. We must have these services that are reliable, affordable, and don't cause damage to the environment. I am banging my chair too much. Public ownership. The pursuit of profit and degradation of our public infrastructure has left the UK vulnerable in the current energy crisis. Response to this, we will immediately nationalise all energy companies along the national grid and associated infrastructure. We will establish a national energy service to own and maintain these assets and infrastructure, the creation of which will allow us to lower the price cap to an affordable level. We will renationalise all private water companies. Bringing these companies into public ownership will allow profits to be reinvested into water infrastructure rather than disappearing at the shareholders' pockets. Brilliant, absolutely. Yeah, more public ownership the better. Green power generation. We will invest in green power generation such as wind farms and total power facilities. Reducing reliance on important electricity, gas, low energy costs. That's good. That's very good. Together with our national energy service, it will create decent public sector jobs. Yeah. More nationalisation. More likely we can overcome the reserve army of labour. Of course, that is an important thing to outdo. This all sounds great. Quality broadband. We will make high-quality broadband affordable to everyone by making it publicly owned. Very good. Broadband is a necessity for finding work, accessing education, and connecting with friends and family. Additionally, we will use public ownership to expand access to broadband in rural areas so as to eliminate reliance on expensive mobile internet. Community ownership. We will empower communities who want to establish their own local providers for essential utilities that are not yet nationalised by providing startup funding and guidance. Oh, that's interesting. This will ensure that these services benefit local communities first and foremost by putting them in control in the community's hands. Yeah, that's okay. As long as they have having a pre-nationalisation plan is good. That's good. As long as the focus is always on nationalisation. That was a great page. I hear nationalisation. I'm ecstatic. I love it so much. I love me some nationalisation. Green spaces. Everyone should have access to green spaces on their doorstep, whether a community garden, city park, or rural footpaths. We will create more green spaces in our towns and cities by planting street trees and funding the creation of new parks and playing fields. These spaces will provide a young place for all to socialise, especially families with children and young people. We will increase the number of and access to community allotments and plant fruit and nut trees in appropriate public spaces. This will increase food security for the people of the north and improve local biodiversity. Yeah, absolutely fantastic. That is great. This manifesto has been a lot better than I expected so far. I always wanted to be more radical, but there's been a couple bits where I'm not really sure on it. But so far so good. Rural green spaces, and we will increase access to rural green space by bringing more land into commons ownership. Local authorities own vast tracts of land and have the power to purchase more. Far too much land has been shut off from public use. We will also work to expand and join up existing public rights of way to develop a nationwide system of safe, fenced, accessible walking routes so people can enjoy the beauty of the north no matter where they live. To provide safe rights of the way for the general public and protect livestock from ramblers. The north is very beautiful, though, to be fair. I think all of England. England is very, very beautiful. You know, I'm not a patriotic socialist, Jesus Christ, but I do think it is a beautiful country we live in. Rewilding. We will rewild the north. We will plant trees, create meadows, and plant more native hedges to provide food sources and nesting sites for our endangered birds. We will fund farmers to play their part in these initiatives. We will seed roadside verges and other suitable places with wildflowers. Wherever possible, these will be continuous wildlife corridors to allow wildlife to move freely. This will reduce roadside pollution and protect our natural environment for all to enjoy for generations to come. River water quality. We will ban the practice of dumping raw sewage into rivers and seas and hold private water companies and polluters accountable for the safe management of waste. I think that'd be pretty fun. We will achieve this through a well-funded and resource regulator and embed the polluter pays principle into environmental regulation. We should all have the opportunity to enjoy our rivers and beaches, and polluters should pay the price for cleaning up their own mess. Not bad at all. Okay. That's another section. That was the Where We Live section, I believe it's called. Let me just double check. Yeah, Where We Live. Probably my favourite section so far. I mean, I probably would have added like how we work. That was pretty good, but there was a lot of it would have added. This was that's just quite good actually. When we need help, let's click on it. Healthcare. We do like healthcare, don't we? Yeah. The NHS is one of our proudest achievements. That's true. We will build on that legacy to ensure everyone receives the care they need. We will fight any further privatisation of our NHS, and we will reverse existing privatisation inflicted by successive Westminster governments. I'll drink to that. We will also probably fund the NHS. We will protect its future by investing in its infrastructure, improving A&E department waiting times, and creating higher intensive care capacity. This will make sure everyone gets what they need, even during challenges such as the COVID-19 pandemic, and will stop hospitals from having to choose between dealing with emergencies or delivering routine care. Very nice. Prescription charges. We will abolish prescription charges, bring the services north in line with those in Scotland. There it is! Scottish model, just as Comrade Heidi Heisman predicted. The bloody Scottish model. I once again apologise. I mean, they definitely have a lot going for them in Scotland, to be fair, so that is... It is something definitely to aim for over the disaster we have right now, because you know the SNP actually did recently nationalise ScotRail, and I'm not the biggest fan of the SNP at all. Bloody sock Dems, they seem quite liberal to me personally, even for sock Dems, but I mean nationalising rail, I'll always be like, all right lads, thumbs up. So, you're right, you will have that one. You can have nationalising rail. That's just unequivocally a good thing, right? What the fuck is driving past? I don't even know the microphone's like, there might be... I must sound like the ravings of a madman, but... Like, here's what I do worry about the NIP, because they say they're democratic socialist, but, like, often the phrase democratic socialist is often its code word for social democrats, because... It's such a weird phrase. Alright, rant here. Democratic socialism. Socialism is by nature democratic. It's like people say, like, we're not like those authoritarian countries. We're not like the USSR. Why would anyone want to be like the USSR? You think we're going to lift millions of people out of poverty? Why would we want to do that? It's terrible. Of course, I'm being facetious, but yeah, I mean, of course, I believe Salvador Allende in Chile... Cool. I think that was like a democratic socialist movement, and that was very much. That was. I do believe. Was Allende a Marxist? I think Allende was a Marxist. We do stand Allende, of course. Rest in peace. Alright, so let's continue. Let's keep going. Dental, hearing, and visual care. We will make free dental, hearing, and visual care part of the NHS. This will cover all dental services like fillings, all hearing services like hearing aids, and all optician services like glasses. These vital aspects of our health are currently overlooked, and them to be made available to those who cannot afford private care. Good. Very good. Social care. We will increase social care funding and bring the provision of social care into the NHS. Years of cuts to funding have left older and vulnerable people without the care they need. We believe that everyone deserves to live with dignity and as independently as possible. We will build a social care system that works for older people as well as neurodivergent people living with chronic illnesses and all disabled people. Ensure carers are paid the same decent wage as other NHS workers and receive high quality support and training. We will protect their rights by classifying them as NHS employees with all the same protections and benefits. Very nice. Mental health. Our mental health systems are currently underfunded, understaffed, and often unable to effectively treat complex cases. We will increase funding for mental health services on the NHS, and will improve access to a wide variety of options for mental health treatment by reversing the trend that pushes people into cheap cognitive behavioral therapy. Yeah, a friend of mine was telling me that apparently something about CBT is very outdated, not really up to modern science. So when people go into that, I believe that'd be a good thing, yeah. Because that's all second-hand knowledge. Do your own research on that, but I mean, that sounds good. But because our mental health is just as important as our physical health, and the two often overlap, we will improve the integration between mental and physical healthcare. What is driving? Is that like a motorbike? Are people tearing I don't know. We will increase funding for mental health investment for NHS workers, many of whom are living with symptoms of mental illness, such as I am too easily distracted by noises happening outside. Such as post-traumatic stress disorder due to working through the pandemic without sufficient support. We will increase mental health provision in schools, and we will ensure every school has access to a full-time mental health nurse. Reproductive healthcare. Oh, this is a biggie. We will protect continued universal access to reproductive healthcare, including all forms of contraception and abortion, and will resist any attempt to restrict access to these services. We provide free menstruation products in all public buildings and tackle period poverty. Following the example set by the Scottish Government. There we go again. I fear they're taking a bit too much inspiration from Nicola Sturgeon over here. We will increase funding for the provision of high quality pre and postnatal care to help those who want to have children, and we will also fund the community support for new parents. We will fund additional research to produce treatments for conditions that disproportionately affect those with female reproductive systems, such as cervical cancer and endometriosis. I'm definitely butchering that. This will address a long-standing institutional bias in our medical system and ensure that everyone has their symptoms taken seriously. That's important. That's actually very important. That's actually good. We will do the same for the side effects of the menopause. Furthermore, we will provide additional funding to make access treatments for these conditions and side effects more widely available. That's good, that's good. Oh, here we go. Transgender healthcare. We will reform transgender healthcare by decentralising care to GPs and specialists under an informed consent model. This will end the gatekeeping of gender identity clinics, decreasing waiting times and improving access to high quality care. We will also protect trans teens access to puberty blockers, which are a medically proven, safe and reversible way to give them time to decide whether they want to medically transition. That's very, okay, I'm not trans, so I don't know how good that is, but I think that sounds quite good. I do think that sounds good. I have heard replies to Breakthrough go a bit further on that, but I'll leave it to any trans comrades to say how good that is. Social safety net. That's the buzzword. That's the Nordic Scottish. Now the Scottish model. We've got bloody social safety net. Oh God! I look down. Oh no! Oh Jesus Christ! Okay, let me just read this first part first. A decade of austerity has left our social safety net in tatters. Our policies will provide a renewed foundation for all of us to build on when we need help. That sounds good. This, however, universal basic fucking income. Jesus, I can't escape you, you little wank bastard. I used to be in favour of UBI. Before I was a Marxist, I was like, yeah, UBI, this is great. And I was like, oh no, it's shite arse. We will introduce a universal basic income. I don't care about pronouncing this one correctly, it's terrible. As placement for the deeply flawed universal credit program, with top-up payments as required for those and other benefits, such as personal independence payments. The reduced cost of administering a UBI will more than make up for the increased number of recipients that will provide a solid foundation for all in previous circumstances, including that the many people employed in the gig economy. UBI trials across Europe have demonstrated its benefits, allowing people to invest in their education, improving mental health, and reducing poverty. Just nationalise the fucking stuff. Say what you want about the authoritarian socialist countries. They say have fucking sense enough not to do this. UBI, right? Okay, UBI. What's UBI? UBI, basically every month it's like I believe it's like $1,000 check. Every month, and you can basically spend it on anything you want. Unfortunately, Breakthrough also has this. It's very much blighted by it. But now it's here. Oh, I thought you managed to escape this NIP. Oh God. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You know what? I don't like this. You know what? I don't like it. Of course. Under a nationalised economy, it could definitely work, but under a market economy, fuck off. That's just. there are so many problems with this. I'll link a good video by Hakim on this. But basically, UBI, it's gonna end up. It's definitely because of how expensive it's gonna be. It's gonna definitely lead to some cuts in social services, and definitely they're gonna lead to like some other cuts in like employment benefits, certainly. But like more than that, it's gonna the problem is they're saying they'll introduce. They're not just gonna like trial it. They're just gonna like flat out introduce it. At least Breakthrough's only gonna trial it unless they've changed it. I don't know. But she's the bloody Weezer. It's like basically you just ask people to engage in the market. We're just speeding up the bloody contradictions here. It's if you can't tell, I'm not a big fan of markets. So this really, UBI is definitely not the way to do things. If you yeah, I get it. You want people to be able to afford things. Just nationalize the services and basically sell goods at subsidized rate. Do what Cuba does. Cuba is on top of this shit. They just this is basic. You know, my like stuff I write in politics. Basically, just me copying Cuba's bloody homework. That okay, but there's so many things right. Their economy, their political, like their legislature system, voting system. It's copy Cuba. Advice for any socialist parties out there: steal Cuba's homework. Now, don't do that too far, of course, because you know material conditions. They're not going to apply everywhere. But Cuba is on top of so much of this shit. Definitely do some research about Cuba if you're interested in that. Anyway, moving on. Reforming the Department for Work and Pensions. This might be better, at least. And will improve access to benefits by simplifying the application process and ensuring that it's possible to apply by post or over phone, as well as online. Everyone has a home internet connection or a computer. I hope that doesn't pick up on the microphone. And they should not be prevented from getting support when they need it. We will reform the Department for Work and Pensions to put an end to dehumanising and dangerous practices such as requiring a face-to-face assessment for all claims, the requirement for all cohabiting couples to file a joint claim, longer additional wait times, and reducing benefits during the opaque and unaccountable appeals process. Assessments will only be required where strictly necessary, and medical evidence will not require additional assessment. As an alternative to face-to-face assessments, all claimants will be offered a video call or home visit. That's pretty good to me. It's only better than the last fucking point. Jesus Christ. Childcare. We believe that childcare is a necessity that must be available for all, free at the point of use, in line with our state education system. The cost of private childcare leaves many parents in a position that they must choose between continuing their careers or raising their children, and many more people who want to have families unable to do so. We will provide funding for community-based childcare providers, both local authority-based and cooperatives, and enforce strong safeguarding standards on all providers. We will achieve this by ensuring that local authorities have the resources they need to enforce these standards. We'll expand the current free childcare scheme from 30 to 37.5 hours a week, including school holidays. Expand eligibility from 3 to 4-year-olds to 3 to 11-year-olds, and including care during school holidays. In addition, we will expand earlier support, including Sure Start and similar schemes. I mean, that sounds fine to me. Food access. Freedom from hunger is a human right, regardless of a child's background. We're getting back on track here. We will provide free school meals for all students. Yes, that's very good. And expand the scheme to include breakfast clubs. Universal free school meals will be more cost-effective for families who do not currently use the system, since the state can take advantage of bulk price discounts that they cannot. We will ensure all food for schools, hospitals, and other public institutions is sourced directly from local supplies and is high quality, healthy, and sustainable. We will also provide financial support for organisations working to eliminate hunger in their communities, and we will help connect residents in need with their services until such times that we can eradicate the need for food banks. We will place no arbitrary restrictions on access. Why does I keep making that crumbly sound? No arbitrary restrictions on access to them. The last part sounds well to me. Yeah, okay, so parental and menopause support. We will increase paid parental leave to support new parents in the workplace, ranging from 30% of the person's wage to 60%. Oh, that's a big increase. And making it equally available to both parents. We will. That's actually good. We will also work with unions to ensure that those returning to work after a pregnancy are not overworked or pushed out of their jobs and receive the support that they need to settle back in. You know, work with unions. I always love to see anything about work with unions. Still need to get something about my core law, and none of Breakthrough knows that. Menopause is an under-discussed issue in our culture, and we will work with unions to improve accommodation workplace for those suffering its side effects. Again, work with unions, always based. Retirement. We will restore the pension age of 65 for all genders and ensure any changes are implemented in such a way that that they don't leave anyone worse off. Increasing the pension age fails to take into account the experience of those carers who are based on physical work, moving the goalposts leaves people in precarity. Social isolation, we will fund local institutions and community organisations, including youth centres. This is a long section. Sports clubs and community halls to provide public spaces and activities where people can socialise and learn new skills without having to pay for it. This will help tackle social isolation and support the physical and mental well-being of our communities. Legal aid. The Conservative government cut to the courts and legal aid systems have made a mockery of justice, with victims of crime waiting years for perpetrators to be tried, while innocent people are left without the means to properly defend themselves. We will restore funding to the legal system and legal aid. This all sounds pretty good. Mutual aid now. This is what I'm interested in. We will provide mutual aid groups resources to support their work in building resilient communities, including access to the public spaces, professional expertise, start grants. We will also directly connect residents who want help with organisations that operate in their area. To direct the independence of these groups, we will not collect any information on those using their services. Based! Oh, this section got off such a bad fucking start, but that, we do like to see that. It's not quite saved it, because UBI is fucking atrocious, but yeah, we, advocating for mutual aid, that is very important, very good for the party to be looking at extra parliamentary ideas. That is, big ups to that. Big ups. I'm gonna have another swig. I'm gonna need, actual fucking alcohol to get, if I see UBI again. The bloody modern monetary theorists, they've got into every avenue of the bloody, I'm like a broken record. I'm trying to think of the word I'm trying to say, but I just say bloody 25 bloody. I heard it again. Okay, never mind. Let's talk about public safety. I can't see this going wrong. How we keep our community safe must be based on reducing harm and tackling the root causes of antisocial behaviour. Okay. I see police regulation down there, and it's a fucking long section. Okay, this is just a massive section. Okay, what's after this? After this is how we build, transport, how we thrive, how we govern, our values. Okay, we're making good progress. We're making good time. Right, sex work. Sex work is work. Okay, that's good. What someone must do for a living does not define who they are. We will decriminalise sex work and oppose any attempts to introduce the Nordic model, which make conditions more dangerous for workers been introduced. You know what? Opposing Nordic model, I know we're not talking about what I say when I mean Nordic model, but in this case, ops to this. Good job, NIP. Good job. With better worker protections following from decriminalisation, sex workers will be empowered to report illegal activity without fear of prosecution. That means decriminalising sex work will make it easier to find and prosecute human traffickers. This is really important, because a lot of people, they talk about, we don't want to advocate sex work, and yes, of course, it's extremely exploitative. Like there's a lot of exploitative practices in sex work. But the thing is, if we actually want to, we need to decriminalise it. If you actually want to, stop the exploitation. This is like prohibition, or it's like any of these, this type of thing. Like for example, this is why it's good for alcohol to be legal, because why we should make more drugs legal, because if you just make them illegal, then you can't regulate them. It's just terrible. But you're just basically, you're not just leaving it to the market, you're leaving it to the fucking shadow market. That's like, how did you make the market worse? How did you make the market? You're leaving it to fucking Ancapistan. This is don't leave things to anarcho-capitalism, people. Come on. Oh, God. Jesus. Anyway, the back of the chair keeps tapping. My attention span's brilliant. It's absolutely fucking fantastic. What was I thinking about? Oh yeah, this. Right. That's basically reiteration. Cannabis and public health. We will legalise cannabis for sale to anyone over the age of 18, with shops dispensing recreational cannabis subject to an accessible licensing scheme, similar to that under which alcohol sales are currently licensed. A condition of license will be that these shops need to carry public health information on managing the personal risks of cannabis consumption. We will remove restrictions on the use of medicinal cannabis to allow GPs to prescribe it to those whose conditions would medically benefit from it. Yeah, right, yeah. I've never done drugs myself because I am extremely fun at parties. That's a lie. But I mean, I definitely support legalising it. Definitely. Very much. Like, for all the reasons I talked about, I mean, come on, people. Did we learn nothing from the Prohibition era in the US? Come on now. No, anyway, any antisocial behaviour resulting from cannabis consumption will be managed in the same way as antisocial behaviour resulting from alcohol consumption. Driving while under the influence of drugs or alcohol is addressed in the Road Traffic Act of 1988. All driving under the influence offences will remain as is. We believe that illegal substance use is a public health issue rather than a criminal matter. We ought to criminalise drugs other than cannabis by repealing the Misuse of Drugs Act 1971 and the Psychoactive Substances Act 2016, introducing appropriate legislative measures to restrict illicit production. Our decriminalisation framework will also include harm reduction policies such as safe consumption rooms, testing services, and addiction rehabilitation services. We will fund the research into the use of psychoactive substances in mental health treatments. How much charge I have? Alright, good. We will fund research into the use of psychoactive substances in mental health treatments, and we will also liberalise research into psychoactive substances by universities and research institutions through a notification system rather than a permit and approval system. Okay? That's all right to me. Domestic violence. We will fund organisations that provide shelter, counselling, and other forms of support to all survivors of domestic violence and sexual assault. We will encourage such an organisation to provide help in need, people in need, in regards of their gender, but with I don't know what that noise was. It's the gender, but with sense to be considered segregation where appropriate. No one should be trapped in an unsafe situation because they don't have resources to leave. That's good. That's good. Don't know if there's going to be any more stuff on the topic of domestic violence. Like more like preventing it from happening. But, I mean, that's certainly very good. Like, that might be anti-discrimination. That was a loud scratching sound. I apologise. This is the big one. Jesus Christ, they've written a bloody novella on this. Police regulation and criminal justice. Yeah, that's an important topic, though. The police should not be grading their own work. True. We will make the police accountable by removing responsibilities for police oversight from police and crime commissioners and creating a post whose specific remit is to monitor the police. We will create local police monitoring boards recruiting from the communities where they are policing, and we will empower these boards to review police performance and propose reforms. The authority of the police should not arrest with individual officers. We will ban police officers from making lone arrests while permitting them to detain suspects in their present location until other officers arrive. This is to prevent abuse of the power to arrest. I mean, don't particularly think that'll prevent abuse of power to arrest. If you're seeing the bloody pigs, I mean, maybe that'll be helpful. They don't need more than that. We will ban the use of restraining equipment such as tasers and restraint hoods. Too many people have died from the police's use of these devices. The police have shown that they are too willing to employ less than lethal equipment outside of physical altercations to force compliance where it is unnecessary and inappropriate. We will bar the police from accessing data without a warrant. Information held by third parties such as schools and agencies employees should not be freely available to the police where there is no legal basis for suspicion of offence. Such open access damages our privacy and discourage people in difficult situations from accessing institutions fear the police. Say what, this is all this is well. We will vote against any expansion of police powers, including those proposed in the Police Crime Sentencing Courts Bill. This is all it's much better than what Labour's put out. Like, pretty much all the PAL parties are better than what Labour's put out. The part of this ad, I saw it basically, it's like, we need more police. It's got like fucking yellow tape on it. With like, Labour's just been a disaster. Keir Starmer and his consequences have been a disaster for the human race. Been a bloody travesty. It's better. We will oppose the creation of new mega prisons by refusing them planning permission. Large-scale prisons negatively affect the communities around them and institutionalized prisoners, which encourage the offence. We will transform our prison system by focusing on meaningful rehabilitation. Now, that's where, taking from the Nordic model, actually a good idea. Rehabilitative prisons, good things. Good. We stand. That reintegrates, I know people still say that. That reintegrates offenders and connects them with their community so that they have nothing to lose if they reoffend. No, they have something to lose if they reoffend. I'm a fucking genius, aren't I? I'm so good at reading. Because healthcare is a human right, we will ensure that all prisoners have full access to healthcare, including pre- and postnatal support for pregnant prisoners. I was saying that 3 times fast. Pre- and postnatal support for pregnant prisoners. Pre- and postnatal support for pregnant prisoners. I'm joking, of course. This all does sound quite good. There we are. Got that part out. We will raise minimum age a person can be tried as an adult to 16. It is not right that children as young as 10 years old are assumed to have the same responsibility for their actions as fully mature adults. Also restrict the military's ability to active recruiting people, particularly those in schools. Yes, please get the fucking military off school captain. I remember when I was in secondary. They had like a fucking, I think it was was it careers even? Was it university? It was either university, careers, or like the options evening. And I remember there was a fucking thing for the military there, and we were like, I was just thinking, in my young idiot sock them child brain, I was thinking, by jolly governor, we're like fucking 15, 14, 15. Why the fuck are you trying to sign us up to fucking die? Your imperial empire. Wankers! You know, I was a stupid child. I was a stupid child, but you know what? Based critical support for Comrade Child me anyway. Yeah, of course. These are some meaningful reforms. I always like them to go further because, as we know, ACAB, all cops are bad. Because I would advocate for like the complete abolition of the police, but that might not be like the short term. So there's like some like I think like a kind of community volunteer replacement system. I think that's very accountable. That would be a good replacement. Alright, so here we go. COVID-19 mitigation. We demand that vaccine... What accent is this? I don't know what accent this is. Something northern, I think. We demand that vaccine patients be waived so that they can be produced... Oh, patents, right, I'm a moron. Patents be waived so that they can reproduce globally. I was going to say, how are you going to globally produce patients where they are needed most? To bring the pandemic to an end, it is vital that the rest of the world has equal access to vaccines and infrastructure to distribute them. Very good. Very, very good. We have our second bit of foreign policy, people. We're gonna hamper the exploitation in the global south a bit, and we're gonna give everyone vaccines. So I mean, it's better than nothing. But come on, lads, pick up your socks. We will oppose the imposition of any government surveillance to monitor or enforce a vaccine status. This is unnecessary and likely to be the most threatening to minority communities. Yes, okay. We'll bring test and tracing to the public sector and recognise NHS COVID tests as valid for travel purposes. Private companies and contracts have no place making a profit from our COVID response. Fucking preach. We'll reinstate the following measures to slow the spread of COVID-19 and protect lives. Mandatory face masks in public places, working from home whenever possible, upgrading ventilation in schools and other public buildings to make them safe, and with mandatory risk assessments on the capacity and mandatory testing for rollers into the country, we will enforce workplace safety in all industries, following the guidance of unions. Oh, that's a good paragraph. That was a good paragraph. We need COVID measures back because the pandemic is still ongoing. It's actually fucking terrible. Like, it's been like 2,000 deaths, like one day, not like the other day. It's fucking tragic, and honestly, I think we should definitely bring the things back. Although we support lockdowns as a last resort measure, we oppose granting police additional powers to enforce lockdown/restriction rules. Based! Lockdowns are observed through public consent. Any additional police powers are unnecessary and open to abuse. In the event of a lockdown, we will instate a rent and mortgage holding and introduce an emergency if it's basic income control no one's left behind. I mean, I guess an emergency UBI could be alright, but like, I mean, if they just have an emergency UBI for like a situation like this, I'd vastly prefer it to just having a general UBI. You mate, that'd be much better. That was a section with we're now on to what we build. I'm very annoyed with how they label these. Could they not just like put like, oh, transport, economy, just. Also, there's so many links to this. Just put it in a PDF, lads. PDF. PDF. A Word doc. Don't put it in a Word doc. Put it in a PDF. Okay. Or like, I mean, maybe it's the most accessible thing. I mean, that's possible too. I heard something about PDFs not being very accessible. So, if that's the case, then alright, fair dues. I retract my comments. But transport, we all love transport. Our public transport's run into the ground for budget cuts and underinvestment by the successive municipal governments. We will reverse this decline and provide services that are a vital part of a sustainable, just, and inclusive communities. Okay. Public ownership. We're back, baby. We're back on track. We got national fuckingization in there. Oh, I'm beginning to think I swear a lot. The outrageous costs and poor services provided in the privatisation, so that 10 times fast, have demonstrated that private railway ownership has failed. We will renationalise the railways. Get in there, lads. Get in there. In the same vein, we will also allow councils to run local bus and other mass transit networks in-house, and ensure these networks are affordable to all. In both cases, we will no longer allow private companies to profit from overpriced and inadequate services. Public ownership will ensure we have access to high-quality services in the north The high-quality services to the north needs to connect our communities and tackle climate change. Get in there. Weird saying, but yes, absolutely based. Funding public transport. We will increase public transport funding to improve the availability reliability and sustainability of services. We will expand rail and bus networks to ensure all that areas are covered. Particularly, we will improve the east-west transport connections within the north. This is good, I'm liking this. Buses. You'll use the new powers granted to local authorities to create bus franchises that run more regular services on routes that actually get people where they need to be and establish London-style zone-based ticketing and ask for more flexible travel. Can we have this in the Midlands, please, as well? I know this is the Northern Independence Party, but I think like everywhere needs this. Have you ever been to the East Midlands? That's where I live. Buses. Bus beyond time challenge. Difficulty impossible. Like, out of, like, every, 10 buses, one will be, on time. And it's a surprise every time. Just why do they list, a time when they're gonna be there? Just saying, oh, yeah, and, this, or about 5 minutes later. Or 10, that happens too sometimes. Or early, or it just comes, 2 minutes, Nationalise all buses. It will restore public rural services so that no one without access to a car is cut off, based, and we will ensure services and tickets do not arbitrarily stop or start at county lines, but rather reflect where people wish to travel. Very based. The needs of people living near county borders must be included when reforming the bus network. These frequently rural areas have as much need for good quality public transport as anywhere else. Light mass transit. We will expand the existing major rail network by creating new tram and light rail networks in urban areas. Areas we will focus on first include Bradford, Leeds, Hull and Teesside. We will also expand existing networks in the following areas. Tyne and Weir Metro, I'm probably pronounced that terribly, to Blythe, Derwent Valley, Washington and Frockley. There's a place in the UK called Washington? That's news to me. Okay, that's good. Sustainable road infrastructure, we love to see it. We will put sustainable travel at the forefront of every development and road-changing scheme, and ensure a continual rolling improvement to existing roads through proper isolation of pedestrian, cyclists, and traffic. These improvements will also include dedicated funding for maintenance, especially repairing potholes promptly. Many people would like to cycle and walk, currently feel unable to do so due to road traffic. This will improve the safety of our roads and allow everyone to use the mode of transport they want. As a further measure to control traffic and improve air quality, we will introduce more 20 miles per hour zones in residential areas and near schools, increase the number of roads designated as school streets, and provide fiscal incentives to get diesel vehicles off the roads. As an additional safety measure, we will ban the use of smart motorway practices and that eliminate the hard shoulder and re-establish the hard shoulder on all motorways. All sounds good to me. Bicycle storage. Many people, particularly those in flats and houses with multiple occupancy and are unable to securely store a bike. We will we'll provide secure on-street bike hangers to ensure that everyone who wants to cycle can cycle. Very nice. Free transport for young people. We will expand free and discounted access to public transport for everyone under the age of 18, mirroring the access offered to senior citizens. Well, I think that's I think 2019 Labour advocating for free transport for 16 and under. So that's 18 though, that's even better. That's actually quite good. Young people should be able to travel to school or visit friends and family in a way that's safe, affordable, and sustainable. Lovely jubbly. Airport expansion. We will not approve the expansion of any airports. We must reduce the total number of flights in order to reduce carbon emissions and mitigate climate change. Any needed domestic transport capacity can be provided through the expansion and improvement of our rail and bus networks. We will also fund the research and production of additional electric planes to reduce the carbon emissions of unavoidable flights. Nice. Alright, next section, we are on public infrastructure. This one looks like it's going to be shorter. Public infrastructure. Society relies on our public infrastructure and enables all of us to access to build our lives. So far, it's beyond by all of us. It's short, but it's good. Royal Mail. We will renationalise Royal Mail. I should probably stop clapping so much. Our postal service already operates as a public service with an obligation to serve every part of the country. But what used to be an excellent service has been squeezed and frequently failing to meet that obligation for the sake of private owners' profits. So yeah, 10 times fast. Postal services are a lifeline to many and provide a connection to the rest of the world. This is important now than ever before. Lovely. Access to services in rural areas, provide vital services in rural areas such as post offices, banks, and GPs. That's great. We will fund programs to expand these services in areas that have lost coverage due to decades of cuts and neglect. Rural areas need the same infrastructure as anywhere else for people of all ages to thrive in their communities. I've had some hang-ups, but you know what? NIP Manifesto. More good than bad, honestly. More good than bad. It's not bad so far. Not bad. Okay, sustainable communities. This one, it's a bit longer. Sustainable communities. Sustainability is necessary for the future of our communities. We will ensure that we protect and enhance the environment our livelihoods, well-being, and economy rely on. Sustainable farming. We will protect our agriculture industry, rural jobs, and rural economy by setting minimum prices that agricultural goods cannot be sold below. That is nice. I think they have like a scheme like that in Vietnam about rice, and that works. I've heard that works really well. So yeah, price controls. We love price controls here. We are big ups on price controls. The Virgin Universal Basic Income versus the Chad nationalisation and price controls. More of this, please. Less of the other thing, please. We will directly fund the transition to more sustainable forms of agriculture, including measures to protect soil health, renewable energy generation, and adopting farming practices that provide natural carbon sequestration and improve biodiversity. We will also support communities that wish to establish agricultural cooperatives. You know, for a thing that doesn't have any sort of markora law, they like their cooperatives. They're like cooperatives. They like them. They like them. I need to stop stammering. We need to. I'm great at reading. We will also support communities that wish to establish agriculture cooperatives by providing startup funding and guidance. This will allow more communities to share the responsibility for the land they live on and the goods they produce. Alright, very nice, very nice. Quality farming standards. We will not allow our food standards to be watered down for the benefit of international agribusiness. We will subsidise grass-fed, low-intensity, eye-welfare production and oppose factory farming. We will vote against any attempts to remove regulations that protect the incomes of rural people and the quality of our food. Alright, very nice. Sheep worrying. Sheep worrying is a menace to farmers. Dogs being allowed to run free in fields of sheep more often than not results in sheep being injured or becoming so stressed that they miscarry their lambs. It's direct emotional and financial impact on farmers. We will increase penalties for sheep worrying and fund better enforcement of these penalties in rural areas. Oh, that's what sheep worrying is. Alright, it makes sense now. I get it. I get worrying because the dog worried. Okay. It makes sense. Yeah, alright. Fishing industry. We will remove currently allocated fishing quotas from huge international fishing companies and return them to sustainable local fishing communities. Nice. Fishing communities in the north can sustainably manage their stocks, and it is time we let them, instead of allowing corporate monopolies to put livelihoods at risk through overfishing. I mean, sometimes I do feels like a bit vague. I think they can go further on like nationalising the fishing companies, lads. Come on, guys. Easy, dubs, easy. Neonicotinoids ban. We will maintain the ban on neonicotinoid. I'm great at English language. Neonicotinoid-based pesticides and regulate the use of all pesticides to minimise their harm in our environment and rural communities. Our pollinator species are under critical risk of total collapse. For instance, our food production, if they disappear, they will be gone forever. That's like every point matters to bees and etc. So alright, yeah, that's very important. I need to double check the flood defences. Listen, I know things about flood defences. I got an 8 in geography. Trust me, lads. I got this. Right. We will build more flood defences and fund the refit of homes and businesses in high-risk areas to make them more resilient when they do get flooded. It is an unfortunate inevitability that we will experience floods, whatever we do to tackle climate change. But we can make it easier to bounce back from them. I need to stop. The goddamn chair keeps banging. Anyway, we will invest in natural flood management, including restoring uplands and floodplains alongside other historic mitigations. Okay. We will prevent building on floodplains by giving planning departments more power to block developments that have a high flood risk. This will stop property developers from putting communities in danger to maximise their profits. We'll also undertake urgent reviews of all flood defences in accordance with climate change readiness needs and providing investment to remedy or replace those assets that do not meet requirements. We will increase the Environment Agency's funding so that they can undertake their vital work in improving our flood defences and making sure they will continue to work as intended as our climate changes. Oh yeah, I think sounds like a much more I forgot what the word was, but it's like more the natural strategy, and there's more like the more urban strategy, which like groins, rock armor, and that stuff. I think like the alternative, of course, like that strategy does work a bit better because you can like groins, you got they do smash up the beaches. They've like the longshore drift. I'm flexing this knowledge. I've not used my geography my 8 in geography knowledge for a long time. I'm flexing it. Groins, longshore drift, they call it. And also have a weird name. Groins, if you don't know, they're like the big wooden things on the beaches. They stretch across the beach. I'm great at describing things today. Recycling! We will ensure that at least 50% of waste is recycled by ensuring all waste sent for recycling is actually recycled and not sent abroad to be dumped. Furthermore, that's good actually. Furthermore, we will make sure that all areas of the north have the same access to recycling facilities, ending the postcode lottery of what can be recycled where. That's such a fucking British way to describe something. Like such a British metaphor. Ending the postcode lottery. Alright, so we will expand food waste recycling across the country, recycling it in community-owned anaerobic digesters, which will produce biogas to reduce fuel poverty in the north by lowering energy costs. We will also establish community composting schemes, which will provide a free source of compost for gardeners and allotments. Nice. Planning. In local government, we will only grant planning permission to buildings which will last and our environment is sustainable long term. We will invest in a climate change resilient future. I could use more detail on that. Like, a lot of this could use more detail. But yeah, that's good. Technology. Let's look at technology. Where are we on? That's the last part of what we build. That's how we thrive, how we govern. I have frequently asked questions. There's some controversial stuff in frequently asked questions. So we're going to have a bloody look-see at that. Don't you worries, mate. Yeah, right. This is going to be like a long video. Recent technological developments have created new challenges for us all, from the erosion of our privacy to being able to get our appliances fixed because the manufacturer no longer makes the parts. We'll regulate new innovations to make sure technology works for us and the other way around. Facial recognition ban, public spaces, privacy, and should not be correct electronic. Yeah, okay, so that's pretty good. Copyright reform. We reform copyright law to protect independent artists, musicians, and other creators from large companies that abuse copyright law to make massive profits off from the work of artists without paying them a penny. That's good. I mean, that's right. I'm more on the lines of fucking abolish copyright, like absolutely fucking murder it. But I mean, reform copyright law to it's good. It's all right. I think like they could use a lot more work. There's like a long storied history of like basically copyright. It's just like keep more. It's like the centralization. It's like a tool for the centralization of capital, essentially. As firms like monopolize, they kind of like merge together. That means just like more and more like intellectual property as well as like actual physical property is just like centralized in like a single private firm. So let's build. And I think like reform is really good, but abolition would be much better. Digital libraries. We will establish a national digital lending library to hold collections of books, films, television, radio broadcasts, and computer games, and make them available to all. Okay, very good. It's one of free and propaganda alternative to the mainstream services now available and preserve a culture for all to enjoy. Nationalising streaming services. Well, not like ready, but like making a nationalised alternative. That's such a good idea. That's actually a good idea. NIP. You do occasionally. You do one for the people you like. Good on you. Whoever came up with that. You're putting the hours in. A right to repair. This is good. We'll introduce right to repair regulations that require manufacturers to design services that can be fully upgraded and repaired, and to sell parts to third-party repair engineers at a reasonable cost. This will do away with the need to buy a new washing machine or laptop simply because the one part cannot be replaced or repaired, and will also reduce the environmental impact of future technological development. Lovely. How we thrive. Education. As everyone's least favourite war criminal would say. Everyone should have access to high quality education throughout their lives. We will provide everyone with a meaningful and useful education that teaches vital skills and fosters a lifelong sense of curiosity. Very nice. Education public right will make education freely available and publicly provided from early year sports all the way to doctoral studies. Yeah, that's very nice. We believe that the purpose of education is to help students become skilled workers, responsible citizens, and more importantly, fulfilled human beings. To neglect any one of these functions is to betray our children ourselves. I like there's some good pros. We oppose the blinkered view shared by the Westminster Party that education is nothing more but a job training programme. This is... You're after me on art. Someone right there. You're after my own NIP. Funding. We will scrap tuition fees. That was a bit loud. And cancel student debt. Student loans are in most cases never repaid, and tuition fees serve as a barrier to less well-off students attending university. Preach it. Student debt repayments prevent adults from investing in their future, and so student debt must be scrapped. We will increase funding for high-quality special education so all pupils have the resources they need to learn. We will also make digital devices available to children who need them, including appropriately adapted devices for those children with special needs. We will reinstate the education maintenance allowance, which provided a ladder out of poverty of young people who would otherwise have been able to afford to stay in school. We will increase funding for arts and humanities education. sorry. These are vital fields that are being underfunded due to misguided emphasis on commercial value of education. Not only exists the narrow view of human worth, it ignores the fact that creative industries are the largest parts of our economy. That's really good, that is. That's really good. I mean, I work in the, I guess I work in the creative sector myself, doing freelance writing. So, I mean, yeah, big ups, lads, big ups. Teacher workloads. We will either train more teachers, reduce class sizes, and reform the national curriculum to require less homework. Research has shown it is ineffective at helping children learn and places a higher burden on disadvantaged families. These reforms will include a requirement for schools to increase the number of free periods for teachers for any planning and marking at school in order to reduce how much work they have to take home. Ban on fee-paying schools. We believe that a level playing field in education is essential. As a first step, we will strip charitable status from fee-paying schools. Ultimately, we will ban fee-paying schools outright and convert existing private schools to comprehensives. All right. Ban on especially private schools. Is there a difference between fee-paying? Am I missing something? Have I gone brain dead? Has my brain sodded off? There's actually a lot to do here. Ofsted. Not much about the curriculum unless I've been just reading my brain's been on autopilot. Make sure I'm still going. Yep. Okay, Ofsted. We will scrap Ofsted and restore responsibilities to local authorities. Yeah, very nice. Who will be required to ensure the same standards are met. We will create a national oversight body to review local authorities and ensure they are fulfilling these responsibilities in a way that benefits the needs of their local communities, rather than view schools directly. This ensures that those visiting schools understand that the areas that schools serve while maintaining the pursuit of high standards of education. Yeah. Alright, so the management schools local authorities will be constructive, supportive, and non-punitive. So based! So very good. Good. Discrimination in schools. We will end the practice of off-rolling by not allowing schools to remove pupils from their records without parental consent, and restrict the use of school exclusion to only the most disruptive cases. Schools should not be allowed to artificially inflate the performance statistics by discarding children who are seen as difficult, and these measures disproportionately affect children from minority groups. We will require schools to tackle discrimination and bullying as part of their safeguarding standards. This is a legal requirement to properly handle any discrimination from staff. Everyone has a right to education, free from fear, no matter who they are. Oh, I need to stop talking so fast, but that's very based in IP. Good job. Relationships and sex education. We believe that everyone should have access to high quality and inclusive relationships and sex education. We will fully fund this provision in schools, reversing cuts made through years of austerity. And we will ensure that educational resources are available to adults and young people outside of the school system. Everyone should be equipped with the knowledge and skills to have healthy relationships based on respect. And sex education is proven to reduce unwanted pregnancies. Okay, vocational courses. This is all quite good so far. We will increase funding for vocational courses and graduate opportunities in the public sector, particularly in areas struggling to recruit and retain workers such as healthcare and education. Okay. I'm not really seeing much on the curriculum. Did I miss something? Just let me double check. Maybe is that the next section? I mean, it's like something about arts funding with like. Maybe that's an discrimination. I can't discrimination. Lifelong learning will fund more access to lifelong learning because no one is the same person at 40 they were at 18. No one should be penalised for wanting to change careers no matter their age. This funding I'm so good at the English language. I said it so many times. This funding will include support for education in digital technology so as to ensure they are accessible to everyone. School holidays. You will implement staggered school holidays. Holiday dates will be set on a county by county basis to avoid possible situations where families with children at more than one school end up having different holiday dates for their children. Okay. I like that. This will make holidays cheaper for families by spreading the summer holiday out and reducing unauthorised absences that happen as a result of families trying to avoid that cost. There'll be no change to the length of holidays and the schedule will be consistent from year to year. Alright. Good. Shared resources. We'll introduce a resource bank to share best practices between teachers, schools, and home educating parents, so as to help them create structured lessons for learners of all ages and abilities. We believe in giving all pupils a level playing field, and this includes children taught at home. Land-based education. This will increase funding for land-based education to improve pupils' understanding of where their food comes from. Okay, this is actually for curriculum. Natural world around them, and how they affect natural world. While provision of education is up to councils, it is funded by the central government, and so increased funding is necessary to improve provision and avoid placing council budgets under further pressure. Alright, yeah, I think that's actually a very good reform to have kids getting more out and about. So that's like, we've had like a couple things to the curriculum, but I hope in anti-discrimination they'll actually mention something about, you know, like not... I mean, in my school we never really glorified the British Empire. We definitely discussed its crimes, but I think they could definitely go further to like really bait into kids' heads. Like, oh god, lads, British Empire, shite. Oh, there's a lot of racism. We got all like it's fucking infested in this country, as are pretty much all democracies, really. What was I thinking about? I was thinking about another thing. That was another thing. They also mentioned in work that they're gonna add to the curriculum stuff about the union movement, which is we like that. All right, anti-discrimination. As a representative of the woke left, let's have a look-see. Anti-discrimination. The North has many different communities and cultures that has always been a place of diversity. Discrimination and bigotry have no place here. The problems we face as a society are solved by coming together to draw on our varied strengths, and so to fight for a fair future for the North, we must end our divisions and unite in solidarity. Alright, we can't... let's see... okay. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm looking... yeah, I'm like kind of like skimming, and I'm not really seeing anything on expanding rights for people who are like disabled community. So that's a problem because, as I mentioned earlier, the NIP got into a bit of a thing with that. It's about the founder for the proud that going on like interview you have no media who also previously platformed the eugenicist. Actually, though, it's just normal thing to do. We all accidentally platform a eugenicist, don't we? Fucking hell. And like those complaints will be taken seriously. I don't know if it's been reformed now, but I sincerely hope it has. But the problem is I'm not really seeing anything about that. But we are seeing things about anti-Semitism. Anti-Semitism is shamefully prevalent in Westminster political parties, and we will not repeat their disgraceful negligence towards it. We will fight all forms of anti-Semitism, both explicit and implicit, including anti-Semitic tropes and narratives in Parliament, in our communities, and civil society. Very nice. Islamophobia Westminster has institutionalized Islamophobia. That's very true. And now prominent voices are openly fomenting hate against Muslims. Also very true. We stand against Islamophobia and will not allow Islamophobic rhetoric to go unchallenged. To allow our communities to be divided by false narratives that demonize Muslims. Yeah, okay. That's very important. Ending the hostile environment. People who have lived most of their lives in Britain are being deported to countries they have little to no connection with, as has happened to novelists with the Winter's generation. This must end. True. We will dismantle the totalitarian hostile environment currently enacted by the Home Office, and so stop the people who've built lives here, and end the inhumane treatment of refugees. Those who have been wrongfully deported must be allowed to return. We will fulfil the international law we have promised to uphold by providing. We have some more foreign policy. Oh, quickly, everyone, pay attention. We have promised to uphold by providing We have promised to uphold by providing refuge to all those who come to us fleeing oppression and conflict, no matter where they are, from Ukraine or Yemen. No one anywhere should be forced to stay in danger when we can offer them safety. Very good, very good. Countries in the Imperial Court, we have no right to turn away refugees. We have absolutely no fucking right, because countries in the Imperial Court basically cause the conditions that mean refugees are coming here, so we have to accept anyone we can. Especially in places like Ukraine, Yemen, Palestine, for example, which are absolutely getting very much imperialized right now. We'll repeal the minimum income requirement for family visas. The right to family life is a right, not a privilege reserved for the rich. We will also end the policy of no recourse to public funds, a needlessly punitive measure which stops new arrivals from fully participating in society. All who live here should have access to help when they need it, and a little support at the start, and will allow new members of society to contribute to it more quickly and to a greater degree. We will scrap the Prevent programme. Great! Take that, my politics teacher. You're not going to get me a report for being a communist now. Me and my politics teacher, we have this ongoing joke where he's like pretending to report me to Prevent because I keep being a communist. And he's like, "Dear Prevent, it turns out that it's not only the far right we have to worry about, the communists also have missiles." He keeps saying I have Soviet missiles hidden in a bunker. We have jokes like this. Oh, hang on. Yeah, I'll make sure it's staying upright. Anti-racism. Oh, that should be more than the Prevent program. Okay, we'll get to that a bit in a second. We will scrap the Prevent program that has been used to discriminate against ethnic minorities, particularly Muslims, under the false pretext of combating terrorism. It's not proof public safety and puts people to harm way by preventing them from accessing public services. Fuck off, Prevent Programme. Get in there, dismantle, stab it, beat its ass. Okay, anti-racism. Racism has no place in our society. We believe that fighting racism is an integral part of creating an independent North that is free and equal. People of colour have always been a part of our society and will continue to be for as long as there is a North. We will oppose any and all new legislation or policies that disproportionately impact people of colour negatively, and we will reform existing legislation and policies that have this effect. These powers of stop and search and discretionary school exclusions. Indeed, ACAB, all cops are it's all cops are bastards, isn't it? All cops are bastard, all cats are beautiful. Honestly, I can't. It's actually quite vague, because I think racial ethnic minorities in this country, we need like more specific protections, honestly. Well, like as a matter of like leveling up for equality. I don't know if we just give everyone equal rights. You've got to like kind of like correct historical injustices. We need reparations and that like. So I think that's quite. I think definitely could be expanded. A lot of this could be expanded, honestly. GRT communities. The persecution of our GRT communities would be recognised as morally wrong if applied to any other part of our society. This is true. This is a fucking massive issue where I live. There are a lot of people who are very distrustful of traveller communities where I live. It is a fucking big problem here in East, but this is the North, of course, that they're talking about. But here like I live in a fairly like a rural-ish part of the Midlands, it is a big problem with people like discriminating against traveller communities. It is. There is a lot of stigma that needs to be absolutely fucking stamped out. As all communities, our GT communities are made of individual people with varied hopes and dreams, and the prejudice they face is simple bigotry. Tell it like it is, NIP. Tell it like it is. The way to end all divisions and build a stronger North requires the same solution that works elsewhere. We must end the persecution and come together in mutual respect for our different ways of living. Very good. Revoke the section of the police crime sentencing bill that criminalises GLT communities. We will go further and reform the Equality Act 2010 to address the discrimination faced by our GLT communities in consultation with these communities. We will respect the decision to live a nomadic lifestyle by providing safe, secure, and good quality campsites for whoever chooses to use them. We will foster nomadic participation in our society by allowing people to register for public service with a vowed fixed abode, and we will simplify the existing process to do so for voting. Oh, that's great, actually. That is really good. We need more parties just working. I did not mean to hit that. We need more parties doing work for GOT communities. It's really fucking important. It's a massive issue, the discrimination against them in this country. Massive fucking issue. Alright, LGBTQ rights. Oh, this one affects me. Partially. Well, it doesn't because I'm not in the North. We stand in solidarity with the LGBTQ plus community, and will not tolerate homophobia or transphobia in society or within Parliament. I fucking hope so. We will ban all forms of conversion therapy. Good. The government has promised such a ban for years now, but has failed to act, and we actually deliver where they have hesitated. We will reform the Gender Recognition Act to allow transgender people to gain a gender recognition certificate without the need for medical diagnosis. We will further expand the Act to recognise non-binary identities in the law administratively. We will streamline the process for gender recognition, and where possible, we will remove unnecessary requirements for gender recognition certificate. We will also protect the right of equal marriage and civil partnerships for all, including mixed-sex civil partnerships. Yeah, pretty good. A lot of this revolves around rights for the trans people, which is really, really important. I'll trust myself, so I won't comment on but I think that's I think these will definitely go a long way. That's very important because along with the point about GLT communities, trans people as well. Oh Jesus Christ, Britain is doing terribly on that. Oh, it's like fucking Turf Island here. Oh, we need something needs to be done. Jesus fucking Christ. I will say though, having seen what's proposed in the Breakthrough Manifesto, or what we will be doing for Breakthrough, I think we're definitely outpacing this stuff. We have a much bigger section on that. We actually have, I don't know how much I'm allowed to say, but I will say that fellow Aero Ace comrades, we get name dropped in them in what Breakthrough's putting out. So look forward to releasing it. Oh, I love the Breakthrough Party. Jesus, my fucking nose is having a fit. Alright, public spaces. Public spaces! Let's go. What accent it is, I don't know. Public spaces. Everyone should have access to freely available public spaces for leisure, work and educate. And I feel like we've won that last section for so long. Community spaces. We will ensure community venues such as leisure centres, youth centres, community halls and libraries have the funding they need to be fully staffed and well equipped. These spaces are vital for creating a sense of community and fighting social isolation, and access to them should not be reliant on charity or the work of volunteers. Any venues receiving public funding that will be required to provide the staff with high pay and stable working hours, so our communities will have the best support possible. Venues that are open to children will be required to maintain high standards of... Ow. We try that again. Venues that are open to children will be required to maintain high standards of safeguarding and will be provided with the resources they need to achieve this. We will fully fund libraries by reversing the cuts to their budgets made under austerity and increase library coverage to areas that have had their libraries closed. We will also bring libraries back into council community, not-for-profit ownership! And ensure that they are fully staffed by professional librarians. A public service, as vital as our libraries, should not be treated as a luxury and left to run on the goodwill of overworked volunteers. I love it. Anything that's brought into more public ownership. I can preach it. As the North recovers from the impact of the pandemic, support for pubs and music venues is a must. We will ensure that these venues will be protected from speculation by private developers and malicious noise complaints. Many of our towns and villages have marketplaces that are of vital sense for local business and communities. We'll invest in the continued use with improved facilities such as heated seating areas so they can be enjoyed year round. Accessibility. We will ensure that new buildings are designed to be accessible to anyone from the start. This is important. This is important. This is what we need. From the start, we will refuse planning permission to inaccessible buildings. To improve existing buildings, we will provide a rolling program of grants to update their accessibility. Too many poorly designed buildings have poorly thought out processes to prevent disabled people from fully participating in their day-to-day life, and we must correct this. Thank you. We're actually getting to some of this. They need to really, they need to come out swinging with given what was reported and happening in the party. It's they need to make sure they're reparating for that. We will ensure that any events or activities funded by councils are accessible to disabled people, including neurodivergent people and those with hidden disabilities. We will do this by mandating that councils work and organisers to provide accessible venues, provide training for specific event facilitators, and, where needed, directly organise disability-specific events and activities. Hostile architecture. We will ban all forms of hostile architecture, such as anti-armor spikes and slope seating. Very good. It's not found in making our public space uncomfortable and inconvenient for everyone. Very important. Very important. Hostile architecture needs to fuck right off. It's just fucking... It can fuck off. It can fuck all the way off. I'm swearing too much in this podcast. Okay. Tourist levy. We will introduce a tourist levy in our seaside towns and historic cities to fund public services such as litter collection and the provision of public toilets, as these services are negatively affected by homeless tourists. Very base. Very base. I mean, I've gone to a lot of seaside towns around the country. They do get fucking crowded in the summer. I remember what year it was. Was it Robin Hood's Bay? I think it was Robin Hood's Bay, and it was so fucking crowded you won't actually believe it. No, it wasn't Robin Hood's Bay. No, it was not Robin Hood's Bay. It was... I think it was in Norfolk. I forgot where it was. But it was fucking crowded. Jeez, it can get mad in the summer in seaside places in the UK. Property register. We will create a public register of property owners to improve transparency and hold landlords accountable for leaving high street premises empty or charging unreasonable rents. No one's livelihood or access to services should be reliant on a landlord they've never met. Lovely. High streets. We will use it's a big one. We will use community land trusts to allow towns and villages to collectively own high street properties. They will be able to set rents and service standards in accordance with local need, and this will give communities a direct say in what is on their high streets. We will fund the purchase of commercial properties by councils or community groups, with priority given to large units that can be subdivided and serve many purposes for the community, such as former department stores. This will prevent socially useful properties from running into the private market and becoming yet more luxury apartments or hotels. That's good. Business rate reform so that large online retailers such as Amazon pay their fair share. Nice. It is wrong that local businesses shoulder the heaviest burden. We will also combat property speculation and lower business rents by increasing rates on long-term vacant premises. We will prioritise the redevelopment of our town and city centres by pausing the creation of out-of-town retail space, including supermarkets. These developments have hollowed out our once vibrant high streets in favour of bland retail parks that are inaccessible without a car. Okay, holiday let regulation. We will expand regulation of holiday lets and require all owners to obtain a licence from their local authority before letting out a property. Unregulated holiday lets are pricing families out of their communities by pushing up rents and are a frequent source of noise and antisocial behaviour. This cannot go on. Okay. Air quality. We will improve air quality by reducing traffic. We will also improve public transport, better pedestrian access to city and town centres, and increase cycling infrastructure. Nice. Bins. Our councils will push for more bins to be placed in and around urban green spaces, and as well as local beauty spots. And also ensure they are regularly emptied so that our natural heritage is not ruined by litter every study day. We always love more bins. Bins, more bins. We do enjoy more bins. This is the thing I'm using to. What's it fucking called again? I forgot what it's called, but it's the thing I use to make top the lip smacking. But historically does not work very well. Public toilets. Councils have significantly reduced the number of public toilets available. Use of a toilet is a basic right and something which everyone needs and when out and about. Lack of public toilets directly contributes to unsanitary and unpleasant conditions by fostering antisocial behaviour. We will build more public facilities and ensure that they are open all hours and accessible to those with disabilities. Very nice, very nice. More public utilities, always good. Arts and heritage. Yeah, one thing about the English language. Language, completely optional. Arts and heritage. Our northern culture is diverse and distinctive. Our culture should be celebrated and made accessible to all, not locked away as the preserve of the wealthy. Whew! That's some good prose. Local sports. We'll follow Germany's example and institute a 50+1 rule so that... I heard this in Frankfurt as well. I don't know what this means. 50+1 rules that no investor has more say over how a football club is run than its fans and players. These clubs are often the heartbeat of their communities, and the time is long overdue for them to be put into community ownership. We'll also provide funding to local clubs for all sports and protect sports ground by bringing them into community or council ownership. Very nice. Local arts. We'll foster local artists and writers of all kinds by offering grants for public art. This involves me. Hold on. Well, no, because I'm not in the north again. There's all these exciting things. I realise, oh wait, I'm not in the north. I live in the bloody Midlands. We're all depressed. We will foster local artists and writers of all kinds by offering grants for public artworks. Providing council and space for workshops, events and studios, and requiring local property owners to make long-term vacant properties available at heavily discounted rates. We will also provide guidance for local creatives who want to set up cooperatives. Fucking need a lot of new cooperatives. And where possible, we will work with local institutions to fund long-term residencies. We'll also work with local street artists, not against them, by preserving street murals and commissioning new ones when wanted by local communities. Whew. Yeah, well, I like that. I like bringing, especially like bringing street artists, that's great. Street artists into the fold, that's good. Local journalism. We'll enable local independent journalism by providing startup grants to new local media organisations. We will fund them by using the advertising space for public information campaigns organised by the civil services so as to continue their respective criticism or endorsements of the government. This will include independent online journalism in certain local areas and will not include newspapers owned by national corporations. Culture outreach. Everyone should have the opportunity to participate in the arts. To give everyone the opportunity, we will fund new art centres and programmes in rural areas and towns. Too many arts institutions are based in large cities, and we must redress this balance. We will also fund outreach programmes to make these cultural experiences only available in our major cities, available for all. Good, very good. I like this. Our heritage. We'll preserve northern heritage to make it accessible to all by increasing funding for museums, art galleries, community art studios, theatres and music venues. Too much of the culture in the north is not kept in the north due to current funding inequalities, leading to the transfer of important works and collection to other parts of the country. Okay, yeah. That's actually a really good point, because I think what this manifesto needs more of. That was good, because it needs to focus on definitely like a lot of northern issues. I'm not like aware. I know it's of course it's like a lack of funding in the north, obviously, but definitely needs to focus on like those aspects, like the reason, like the argument for northern independence, why like the north specifically should be separate, because that's not really something I personally advocate for. I prefer the idea of England staying in one. Like, of course, like I'd rather leave in like the hands of northern people, because self-determination, as Lenin would say. We love our boy Lenin. We do love him. Recognising what we owe. We will work with local libraries, museums, galleries, universities, and archives to review their connections to the historical injustices of colonialism and the slave trade. That's very good. This is really good, actually. We acknowledged our part in history and will aim to follow the lead of the University of Aberdeen, Scottish model, in repatriating artefacts and reviewing what we celebrate in our public monuments. We believe academics should be able to pursue research free from government interference. The backlash that research and national trust and other institutions have received for bringing our history of colonialism to light is wrong. We oppose any attempt to make academic funding reliant on following government guidelines. There we go. some stuff about colonialism, but it's historical colonialism and not current colonialism that's going on. But this is really good. That's really important. Very good. Repatriation, extremely, very good, very good. Alright, we're on to the next section, people. How long have we been going for? I think, like... Is that 38 minutes? Like an hour to like an hour 20. If I'm going for 2 fucking hours, come on, NIP. Be shorter. Actually, no, be longer. You'll need to be more thorough. Okay. Our political, democratic, and civil rights. As democratic socialists, equal ownership of our democracy is the cornerstone of our politics. We will defend and strengthen the rights of everyone to decide the direction of our society, to take power back from private interests, and to wield the power of government for the public good. Okay. So first of all, I was good. Ooh, this is really good. Wield the power of government for the public good. That sounds a bit sock-demish. That sounds a bit... it just sounds like a bit of a sock them, like, oh, we want the state to be in we want capitalism, but we want the state to be in favour of workers. Like, if you're going to call yourself socialist, we need to be like, absolutely, bang on, capitalism, abolish it, destroy it, if you have to. No, you do have to, actually. You're more thorough on that point. But anyway, universal political rights. We will protect universal political rights for everyone in the North. We will reverse the introduction of voter identification requirements, a policy that attempts to fix a non-existent problem in reality only serves to disenfranchise those most affected by our government's decisions. Voting is the foundation of our democracy. Only by ensuring that everyone's voice can be heard can we create a society where we all have lives worth living. Fair voting. We will lower the voting age of 16, as is already the case in Scotland and Wales. I don't know why I have to pronounce Scotland with, like, Scotland. I just enjoy it. If our young people can join the armed forces and can be taxed from the age of 16, then they must have voting rights to go along with those responsibilities. Civil rights. We will protect and expand civil rights, including the right to protest, the right to privacy, and the freedom of religion. Everyone should be able to live their lives free from government interference and express themselves and their views without. We will reverse the draconian measures in the police, crime, sentencing, and courts bill that inhibit democratic process. Freedom of speech. Freedom of speech is the foundation of public debate. All people should have the right to express their opinions and to respond with candour to opinions they hear expressed. We support the legal right to free speech and the limited exceptions of incitement of violence, bigotry and hatred, based exceptions. Wait, no, not the exceptions. Like having exceptions is based on what I mean. That's important. While people should be free to speak their mind, they must also be held responsible for opinions which are driven by hatred and ultimately corrosive to our democracy. So here's the thing, this is all about the democracy. Yeah, so it's all about democracy, but I've not really seen any bits in this section on a new voting system, so are they keeping FDP? First past the post, I should say that. First past the post? I hope not. Jesus. Bloody hell, I hope they're not keeping first past the post. Unless I'm missing something. Alright, let's see local councils. Let's have a look at that section. Local councils. Local government forms are I scoffed that twice. Local government forms an essential part of our democracy, but all too often it is opaque and at a far remove from the people it is supposed to serve. That's very nicely written, that part. We will make councils transparent, and our councils will really work for the people in their communities. Fair contracting. We'll give councils more flexibility on the requirements that they set for tender agreements, so that they can consider the social good instead of just value for money, to allow them to prioritise their communities and the people who work for them and the environment over short-term cost-saving and contractors' profits. Very nice. Council meeting records. We will make full video recordings of council proceedings available promptly so as to improve accountability among councillors and to ensure that voters gain a better understanding of the people who represent them. To ensure these records are accessible to everyone, we will provide versions including BSL interpretation and closed captions. That's really good. What I really like about this manifesto is the focus on local communities. That is really good. Accessibility. We will continue to make council meetings accessible online, maintaining the improved engagement and accessibility that has resulted from meetings moving online during the pandemic, and we recognise that not everyone is able to use or feels comfortable using digital technologies, and so we will ensure that in-person attendance at appropriate events and consultations is possible so that everyone's views can be heard. Having our say. We will actively consult communities throughout our planning processes and work directly with them to co-produce services to build long-term conversations about what we want our local areas and communities to be. Everyone must be able to have their say. Social enterprise transparency. We will improve transparency when working with community interest companies, yeah, we mentioned this earlier, and other social enterprises by requiring that any receiving public funds must publish annual reports on how those funds have been used. While we would prefer to spend all public money in-house, we recognise that CICs and other social enterprises can provide services that local councils can't feasibly offer through the public sector, while Westminster holds our purse strings. I mean, always got to plan pre-nationalisation, but remember, alright, we've got to nationalise them eventually, though. Public sector, you'd be surprised at what it can do. We gotta, I mean, when you look up like AES countries, actually existing socialist countries now. Whew. So I was thinking about nationalisation again. I got completely distracted. Ethical investments and pensions. We will ensure that council pensions and investments are ethically invested, and we will divest. Oh, this is good. From harmful industries such as fossil fuels to the arms trade and countries with ongoing human rights crises. Okay, so divesting from harmful industries such as fossil fuels and the arms trade. Big ups. We actually got solid foreign policy mention, divesting things away from the arms trade. Good. That's gonna be some good undermining imperialism right there. That's good. Now, and countries with ongoing human rights crises. Here's the thing. Yeah, they could mean like a lot of things. I mean, yeah, I'm hoping that means like Israel, Saudi Arabia, as well. I'm hoping they mean divesting funds from. I mean, that's, it's very vague. I'd like more specificity. Most councils currently run on a strong leader and cabinet system, where the largest party runs the council and the parties act as opposition. This leads to the Central Westminster, where those who voted for a minority party are left without voice. To address this, we will change councils to run on a modern committee system, where all councils are actively involved in decision making. This will ensure that all wards have an equal voice in decisions made by the council. Yeah, that's really good. This is actually great. Freedom of information. We will adopt freedom of information policies that are more open and informative than statute requires. We'll preemptively publish information that is in the public interest as standard practice, adopting the attitude that the public should not have to ask what they have the right to know. Good section. Our values. Because we've ended like the actual policies, and we're on this bit now. So this might be some like preamble, well, not post-amble, more accurately. Alright. Frequently asked questions. Where's the border? Our current proposal includes all of the North East, North West, Yorkshire and Humber, and High Peak constituencies immediately south of the border will involve the chance to join through referendum. Alright. Alright. I mean, I guess... of course, borders are violence, but I mean... of course, like, having a bit north, that would involve having a border. It should be like a hard border. I'm glad they actually have a plan for it. It's a bit vague, but I mean, let's say, where's the capital? We don't want to recreate Westminster, where everything revolves around a single capital and everywhere else lives in shadow. I'm great at English language. We're examining a number of alternatives, such as having a different capital with different functions, or having a parliament that moves periodically between major northern cities. Any other day will be for the people of North to decide. That's an interesting idea, actually. We're having like a moving capital. I'm not sure anywhere else that does that. I think must be. Just have like one capital in one place. But it's a really interesting idea, though. If anyone does know of anywhere has a roaming capital, such, the only place I can think of having a roaming capital is the New Republic in fucking Star Wars, in the fucking sequel trilogy. And we know how that don't fucking get. I want to talk about the Northern Independence Party, not the fucking sequels. Oh god, If buying Star Wars and its consequences have been a disaster for the human race, etc., etc. We know this. But that's not the point. Will independent North join the EU? I fucking hope not. Majority of people in the North voted to leave the EU, and this was confirmed by the election of Boris Johnson in 2019. Brexit is done. We have left. Brexit means Brexit. I added that part. That's not in here. The Northern Independence Party is committed to democracy and embracing our new relationship with the EU and the rest of the world. We are keen to see the government keep the promises they made about this new relationship. Should the people of the North want to rejoin the EU one day, that's a decision for the people, not any political party to make. I mean, they say, oh, we'll leave it to the people. A lot of parts. I mean, this is going to leave it to anyone. Might as well leave it to people. But, yes, I'm glad they are not being like, we're going to rejoin the EU, because EU is a fucking horrific institution. Obviously the reason why, like, the Conservatives want to leave is because it's obviously very racist, very, like, we're going to take back control of the world thing. But the EU is actually, it is legitimate to leave the EU, because it is a fucking wankerous, imperialist, wankering That's not a word. It's a terrible fucking imperialist institution. That fucking... It's very neoliberal, forces much poorer countries to liberalise, privatise their economy. Absolute fucking trash. So, you know what, I'm glad they're not, like, committing to rejoining. I'm glad they are to leave it unless they want to rejoin us. So that's good. Will we keep the Queen? Many people in the North love the royal family, and it is not for us as a party to decide this. If enough people in an independent North want to keep the Queen as head of state, as she is in many Commonwealth countries, then she will be invited to remain. If the majority of people want to be a republic, then we will be a republic. If waivers will be signed by referendum in an independent North. Oh, a bit too easy. This is how, like, a lot of democratic socialists, they're very, still have, like, this very liberal mindset, because they are, like, kind of like, Soc Dems plus. There's Soc Dems, but, like, more base. Am I still? Yeah, it's still working. And, like, Soc Dems are more based, so they still believe in a lot of these old institutions, like, for example, the monarchy. They're not really, like, outspoken against it. Like, of course, I prefer the French solution. That's actually not so out loud. But, like, republicanism is always favourable. But yeah, again, self-determination, leave it to the North. I think, like, once the Queen's bloody dead, it won't be much longer. I have heard it's like people saying, the royal family's not going to really remain relevant, and I think that's honestly, that you're not too wrong on that. It's like, it's relevancy, it's like fucking in the fucking bin. People, they like Liz, I mean, I don't, but a lot of people do like Lizzie. But when she's popped it, I mean, fucking hell, it might not stick around for much longer. Fuck, they have it, Jesus. They got it, they mentioned it. Will an independent North use the first past the post voting system? We believe in democracy. This takes us for a constitutional assembly to decide. The form this takes. Oh, here we go. The form this takes is for a constitutional assembly to decide. Having experienced the government's delivered by first past the post, we will argue against it. Good, NIP. Thank you. Good. Good. I'm glad. The problem is I don't really know what you're saying. Or what we will replace with. I would have. I have a very complicated idea, but like generally I'd say AV, alternative vote, very based. Why do you sometimes say Northumbria? Northumbria is the historic name of the regions we consider the North, formed from the merged kingdoms of Deira and Bernicia. I don't know if I'm saying this right. Bernicia in the 7th century, meaning North of the Humber. We sometimes use it for convenience because this period of history, where it was the last time North was united as an independent entity. The name of the independent North for its people to decide. Northumbria. That's not the right name, I guess. Why red and yellow? These are the colours of the historic flag of Northumbria, the standard of St. Oswald, the founder of Northumbria. It is one of the oldest flags in the world. Originally it was gold and purple, but was later changed to a fetching yellow and burgundy. Well, you could have just said because it's base. Red and yellow. Extremely base colour. That's one of my main criticisms of Breakthrough. Number 1, UBI. Number 2, fucking orange. What a way to fucking New Democrats. Why orange? I think it could be worse. Like if you see it, for the thumbnail of the last video, I made it so like the little sun thing of the Breakthrough play would be in red, and it looks so much fucking better. Why couldn't we be in red? Oh, I have to tell ourselves apart somehow. Okay, make sure this is still working. Microphone, hello. There we go, lovely jubbly. Alright, let's see. What currency will we use? This depends entirely on the political landscape at the time of independence. We don't know what the relationship between the pound, the euro, and other currencies will look like when we gain independence. What we can say is that decisions about our currency should be based on the will of the people and the advice of our economic experts. Circles at the time. It's very vague, this FAQ bit. So, we'll leave it to the people, leave it to the experts. I mean, yeah, of course, that is necessary. We need to have analysed it based on the material conditions at the time, of course. I mean, this is a party aimed at the whole of the North of us that operate along class lines. Our aims represent the whole of the North, and everyone lives here. We make no apology for being predominantly a working class party. That's quite base. I think like entirely a working class party would be better. As a working class feel the brunt of the North-South divide, and it's their voices that are routinely ignored. We believe that improving the conditions of the poorest and most neglected among us will in turn improve the conditions of those who are already doing well. To achieve this, we seek the perspectives of all those who live in the North, and we invite people from all backgrounds in the North to join us and contribute to our vision. I'd say they focus more on being. They could do the focus more on being a working class party. Honestly, that should be more than predominant. That should be like the whole focus. There's my dog. I don't know if you can hear. I don't know what she's up to. Isn't it more effective to advocate for the North in Westminster rather than pursue independence? We will be doing this, even when with a government programme as radical and transformative as in 1945. Until we address how the UK is structured, the power relations within it will never change. The North needs its own voice to stand against the interests of Westminster. We can't trust a system built on inequality to dismantle that same inequality. And for those who want more devolution in the North, the SNP and Scotland have shown that pushing for independence, rather than starting for compromise, surest way to get the full Parliament. Once again, we end it. That's the end of the manifesto. We end with the Scottish model, of course. But that's a very good point. When you want to argue for something in politics, you got to go for the extreme and not for compromise, because then you already get a compromise. If you want to actually get anywhere, you advocate for the extreme, and then you get a little compromise. Yeah, that's basically the history of social democracy. So maybe we should just try and get this right in the first place. Okay, well, that's the end of the manifesto. What are my thoughts? So I think, really like the focus on communities. That's great. They like the kind of focus on not-for-profit cooperatives. That's interesting. Exactly how that will work. I really like nationalised industries, of course. But I really do like the focus on local communities. I think the anti-discrimination part could use some work there. FAQs probably be less vague. A lot of it could be a bit less vague. I'd rather they put it in a fucking PDF as well. Just that more about what did that actually do to the curriculum. Good environmental measures. UBI's fucking trash! But yeah, we know that. We know that already. But good stuff, like public infrastructure. A lot better than I expected, actually, because some friends were going for it before, and it was oh Jack, this is terrible, it's terrible. But I'm looking through it, it's actually, could be worse. I think, what? I think that they have a chances. But what the real big problem besides fucking UBI, I can't see, but I'm giving a middle finger to the manifesto for mentioning its name, and a middle finger to also just UBI in general, really. Because it's also in the fucking breakthrough. Why? Okay, but fuck that. Okay, what was I saying? Yeah. So they need to talk about foreign policies. I said this at the start. A lot of this it's more extreme than I thought it was going to be, and I think focus on these cooperatives that are working for profit reinvesting in communities, that could be good. But I think really need to focus more on anti-imperialism. They said they're going to divest from the arms trade. That's good. They need to make sure they're okay, we will take not much on defense either. Just the matters of international. Will they withdraw from NATO? What's their stance on Cuba, Vietnam, China, the DPRK, actually existing socialist countries? That's not touched on. They need more the democracy thing about voting, but generally, that's very disappointing to not really see what their foreign policy is, because an independent North they want to actually be a socialist country. If you want to have a socialist country north of England, they need to actually focus on dismantling imperialism. If they get to power, they need to put proper focus on just destroying that system of imperialism. And I just don't think this manifesto does that. I don't think they really focus, advocate much. I don't think I've actually heard about the Northern Independence Party talking about much ado about fucking about freeing Palestine. I don't. Breakfast Party's talking a lot about that. They need to have more focus on imperialism generally, and dismantling that, and international. What I said is that they're not going to rejoin the EU. That's very base. But they need to talk about NATO. Need to talk more about having open borders for refugees. That's very good. That's great. It's great. Love that. Trying to stop exploitation in the supply chain. I think I really could put more emphasis on that, honestly. But overall, it's better than I expected. But still, could definitely improve on foreign policy. Definitely improve on democracy. Definitely improve on not having UBI. All right, you can't hear me because you're not a document. That's another thing. Put your bloody thing in a PDF. Well, I'm pointing at you aggressively, Manifesto. I'm pointing at you aggressively. Yeah, so you know I'm serious. If you're not careful, I will give you a stern warning. Wanker. I'm having a laugh. But yeah, so better than I expected. Those are the areas I think it can improve on. It needs to be less social democracy. It needs to focus less on, like, talking about the Scottish model. So, yeah, that's much of it. So, yeah, that's gonna be the end of this. And in the description, I'll link the manifesto. I will link Comrades, Heidi Heisman and Manx CP, who influenced the writing of this a bit. I'll also link Comrade Marxist Natalie down there on Twitter, because she actually got me. She pointed me towards being interested in the Northern Independence Party, because I had much interest in what affairs were before. So thank her for that. And that should be everything. Yeah, lovely job, Lee. So, there we go. This has been Labour Media. It's been Broadcast Interruption, and remember, Labour conquers all.